So in yesterday's demo, we have seen we've basically cleared all our benefit of doubt of choosing ABAP over any other module of SAP, or what is the benefit of choosing ABAP other than any existing softwares in the market. Why is ABAP easier than other softwares? How will be the opportunities in comparison to any other software that is there in the market? So these kind of things we have seen, and we have seen what is SAP, uh, what is the purpose of SAP, who is SAP, like what do they do, what is an enterprise resource, all this stuff we have seen. So today we'll get into the actual topic of how SAP works in the background. Okay, so I'll quickly share my screen. Okay, I hope it's visible. So okay, we'll discuss now about the architecture. Okay, architecture of SAP. How does it work? Right, in the background, what happens in the foreground, what happens in the background, and what happens in the ECC, what happens in HANA. Okay, two we'll see. So now, first of all, what is ECC? What is HANA? Okay, we have to understand the difference between ECC versus HANA. Okay, it's no rocket science. Again, see, the only difference between ECC and HANA, or how you can understand the difference between ECC and HANA is, see, in our phones, we constantly do upgrades, correct? Security patches or Android versions or iOS versions. We'll have to uh, upgrade our system from upgrade our OS from time to time, correct? To stay put with the current upgrades that we get. So similar way, even SAP has to go through upgrades. Okay. So here ECC is the previous version or older version of SAP. HANA is the or S4. HANA system is also called as S4 system. S4, right? So S4 system is the upgraded system of SAP. Okay, so that is the primary difference. Okay, that's how you should understand what is ECC when someone asks you, or if you are getting a question in your mind, what is ECC, what is HANA system, what is the difference between both. ECC is the older systems, okay, and HANA is or S4 systems are the new upgraded systems of SAP. Okay, so here we teach, okay, the server that you're going to get will be of HANA system only, but we will teach both ECC system and also HANA system. So the reason for teaching both is, if you are getting an implementation project, means implementation is nothing but creating everything from scratch. Okay, everything, building everything. So in this case, most of the clients will use uh, HANA system. Okay, most of the clients will use HANA system, S4 system. But if you get any project, any support project, support project means uh, implementation means the objects inside the system are already created. Now they are hiring you in order to fix some issues, some temporary issues, or they want to add some additional functionalities to existing objects. So these are support projects. So if a project is implemented way back in time, let's say 5 years back or 10 years back. So at that time, HANA was not so popular. S4 was not so popular. So they would have done their implementation in ECC systems. So for you to, if you are getting a project in ECC system, then you should be able to support those things also. So that is the reason we train you in both ECC and also HANA systems. Okay. Again, there aren't huge changes on how things work between ECC and S4 systems. Few minor level changes, which we will discuss as we progress in our course. Okay. So first of all, we'll see the architecture of ECC, then we'll see the architecture of HANA S4. Okay. How are these two different? We will see. Okay. First of all, this the architecture of SAP is called as a three-tier architecture. Okay. Tier 3 architecture or a R3 architecture, right? The reason for calling it a tier 3 architecture is there are three layers in SAP. Okay, presentation layer, application layer, database layer. Three layers. So first, presentation layer is nothing but the screen that you see. Okay, this screen. Yeah, I'm able to see one screen, right, on which I'm able to read all these things, right? This is nothing but the presentation layer in SAP. Okay, screen is nothing but presentation layer. The purpose of the presentation layer is to give the input and see the output. That's it. Okay, purpose of presentation layer is give the input, see the output on the screen. So screen is nothing but your presentation layer. Okay, in SAP. Then there is something called application layer. Okay, so the purpose of application layer is we will write a certain amount of logic that should be processed, correct, in the runtime. So all that logical processing would happen on top of your application layer. Okay, all the logical processing happens on top of application layer. Done. Finally, database layer. Database layer is nothing but your database. Okay, all the data related to your organization will be stored in the database. That is nothing but your database layer. Done. Now, how are these three integrated? Okay, whenever I pass any command from the screen, how are these three integrated to each other? How does it work? Okay, let's understand that. First of all, from the presentation layer, let's say I give some input. Okay, I want to see information of, let's say, an employee. Okay, some employee information I want to see. So what I'll pass from the selection screen or from the input screen is I'll pass the employee ID of the employee for which I want to see the complete data. Okay, I only know the employee number of my employee. I want to see the complete details of that employee. So in this case, from the presentation layer, we have to give the employee number input, correct? Once you give that, after that, you have to read that employee number that was given in the selection screen in the application layer. And I told you, right, we'll have to write some logic, correct? We have to build a logic. We have to write a piece of code which will work in the application layer. Then it will pull the data from the database layer. Okay, from presentation layer, your input will be sent to application layer. In the application layer, it will process your input, whatever the input you're passing, it will process that. Then it will send the command to the database layer to pull the data from the database, and whatever the data that is extracted is again sent back to the application layer. Okay, send back to application layer. From application layer, it is sent to the presentation layer in the screen. Okay, I'll repeat. First of all, whenever you give any input, that input will be sent to your application layer. It will be processed in the application layer. Then a database call will happen to extract the data from the database to the application layer, and from the application layer the final output will be sent to the presentation layer. User or client will be able to see the output on the presentation layer. Okay, so basically this is how your complete architecture will work. Okay, done. Now let's look at HANA. Okay, let's look at HANA. We'll understand how is it different from HANA. Okay, so if we observe, this is HANA architecture. So the layers are same here also. Presentation layer, application layer, database layer. All the three layers, common layers, no difference at all, right? And if you look at the functionality of the presentation layer, even in S4 systems also, it is used to give the input, see the output. Presentation layer remains the same. No difference in the presentation layer. It is still the screen. Okay, screen is still called as a presentation layer. But when it comes to application layer and database layer, see here what I said that all the logical processing happens on the application layer and less load should be on the database. Correct? This is what the criteria for your ECC system is. Whereas in the HANA system, we should tweak our code in such a manner that most of the processing can be moved on to the database layer and minimal processing should happen on the application layer. Okay, most of the processing happens on the database layer, minimal processing happens on the application layer. This is the only difference on how the background architecture works in both ECC versus S4 systems. Now, why you can put more load on the HANA system? Why should not you put more load on the ECC system? We will discuss in the next slide. But any doubt up until this point on ECC or S4 or any layer? If you're having any doubt, you can feel free to ask. Okay, I'll take that as I know then. Okay, fine. So now let's understand the complete differences between ECC versus S4 or HANA, okay, whatever. So first of all, in ECC system, people used to use third-party databases. Okay, third-party databases means SQL database means SQL database, Oracle database, or some other third-party databases people used to use. Whereas with the upgraded version of SAP, SAP themselves have created a new database. The name of the database is HANA. Okay, the name of the database is HANA. The purpose of HANA is it will have a faster processing power than your ECC system. Okay, why? Because ECC systems or the databases of the ECC system uses a ROM concept, ROM, random, okay, ROM means storage concept basically, like how normal things work, like pulling the data from a database and all. That is the concept of RAM. Whereas in your HANA system, it will use the concept of RAM, random access memory. Okay, so it is similar to see in some mobile phones these days you are getting a option, right, to convert your RAM also into your storage, right? That option will be there in few new end mobiles. Okay, this is similar to that, right? So what this will do is it will convert its RAM into memory to store the data in the RAM, not directly on the database, right? It will store the data in database, but it will also store the data in the RAM. So what happens is when you try to pull the data from the database, because of this memory concept, the fast data will be extracted faster. Okay, in HANA system, data will be extracted faster. Okay, that is the benefit of HANA system. Then in ECC system, there is a row store table concept, but HANA system is column store table concept. What is row store? What is column store means? See, when you try to pull any data from the table, in row store table, it has to find the data, correct? From the database, it has to find the data. So how the data search will happen is in the horizontal manner. Okay, in row store table concept, the data search will happen in row wise, horizontal wise, left to right like this. Okay, left to right it will try to search. Whereas in HANA system, it will try to search the data in column wise. Column wise means vertically, top to bottom in this manner. Okay, in this manner it will try to search. That is the difference between row store and column store. Data search will happen horizontally in row store and it will happen vertically in column store. Okay, that is row versus column. Done. Then ECC system, as I said earlier, it will have slower or less extraction power compared to your HANA system. Whereas HANA will have a higher extraction power. Then in ECC, we have different category of tables. Okay, table is nothing but a database table. You'll understand what is a database table. See, basically, every data that we want to store on the database will be stored in the form of tables. Those are called as database tables. We'll talk about that in detail when we get into the second chapter, that is data dictionary. So in there we will create our own database tables, custom tables and all that stuff. So at that time you will get more clarity on this particular point. So for now, understand that in ECC system, we had multiple category of tables, whereas in HANA system, all those categories are replaced with only one single category. Okay, so in HANA system, you don't need to remember much because category of tables are less in HANA systems. Okay, so what this now why did SAP plan to remove this is because those multiple category of tables were causing unnecessary load on the database. Okay, we'll talk about it in detail anyhow. but still the reason for replacing those multiple categories with only one single category was these multiple categories were causing load on the database. That is the reason they've replaced them with only one single category in your upgraded systems, that is HANA system. Okay. Then we've just seen about the row store and column store, right? So whenever we create any table in ECC system, not just create, even the existing tables of ECC system are row store tables only. Every table, every database table in ECC system is a row store table. Okay. And in HANA system, every table that you create will get column store by default. Okay. If I'm creating a table, database table in HANA system, by default, it will be a column store. But if I want to change it to row store, I can still change it. Okay. That flexibility is given by SAP to change the I mean, to change the storage type from column store to row store. Now, when to use column store, when to use row store. Okay, these things we will discuss when we create the table. Okay, with 2-3 classes more. Once we complete this introduction, after 2-3 classes, we will be creating our tables. At that point, you'll get more clarity on these concepts. But any doubt for now in this slide, anyone? Okay, I'll take that as a no then. So now let's understand what is a client and what is a server. Okay, client and server. See, server is a normal term that we often listen to, correct? So what is the server? We say that server is down or server is slow, unable to connect to the server. We use the server term very much, correct? So server is nothing but it's like a medium or a channel through which we can connect it to the SAP system. Okay, to connect it to SAP system, we will have to have a channel, a medium through which we can connect, right? So that is nothing but your server. Okay, nothing but your server. So if you want to connect it to SAP system, you need a server. That's it. That is a server. Then client. Client means, see, if I want to divide my SAP system into multiple parts. Okay, I'm having one single SAP system. Now this one system I want to divide it into multiple parts. So in this case, I have to use a client segregation. Okay, client segregation. Let me just to show you quickly how does this client look like. This is nothing but the server. Okay, so I'm trying to connect to SAP using a server. You will get your server details once you complete the registration. Okay, you will get the same similar credentials. Okay, I'm trying to connect to the server now. This is nothing but a server. I think it's switched off for now. Okay, I think it's not turned on. Cool, fine. I'll get it turned on for tomorrow's class. I'll show you tomorrow. Okay, so basically, client what it does is when I want to divide my one single SAP system. See, let's say I am working for a global client. Okay, so in this global client, let's say I'm having some sensitive information. Okay, means the business that I'm performing in India should not be visible to the users who are working in UK, or the people who are working in UK, whatever the business that the company is doing in UK, it should not be visible to the users in USA. Okay, so this is a data restriction, correct? Data security. They want to prevent other region users from accessing my region users. Okay. So in this case, what I'll do, I'll only have one single database. Okay, my database is same. But what I'll do instead, I will segregate my one single SAP system into multiple parts by using a client. Okay, every client can have different data. Okay, every client can have different data. No need that all the clients will have same data. The purpose of having a separate client is to have separate data in every client. Okay, basically your data will be different. Okay, your data will be different. But how will this affect as an ABAPer? Not any effect. To be honest, no big effect for us. This effect will be there on your functional teams and your business users. But as an ABAPer, because of this client segregation, you will not have any impact. Normally, how we will create things in SAP, that's how we will create. But for functional team and business users, it will be different. Okay, we will see that in detail once we open the system. Once I log in into the system, then you'll understand these concepts very clearly. It's just that one number. Client is nothing but a single number that you have to provide. That's it. Okay. So any doubt in client and server, anyone? Server is nothing but a medium via which we can connect to SAP. Client is nothing but whenever we want to segregate or divide my SAP system into different multiple parts for different regions, or again, whatever the purpose is for your business, if they want to divide it, they can divide it. Okay. So that is your client. Okay, so I'll take that as a no doubt then. Everyone's been silent. Fine. So just a quick introduction to how ABAP works. It's again not too much of how ABAP works and all, but see some commands. Okay, some commands to justify the statement that I've said that ABAP is nothing but English. Correct, in the previous class. So to justify that statement that ABAP is nothing but an English, these are some uh, commands, some data extraction, data manipulation commands that we use when we write a code in SAP or ABAP, right? So first command is select. Okay, select. So as the name says, what does select mean in English? Definition of select means get. Correct? Select is get. So same. It is used to get the data from database. Selecting is getting. So it will extract the data from the database. If I write a select command in the program, then it will extract the data from the database. That is select. Done. Then update. Again, what is the definition of update? General definition in English. To change something. Correct? To change something is called as updating. So same here also. If I want to change existing data in the database tables, it is called as update. Then insert. Insert means create. Correct? Insert means adding, creating. General definition. So same. Whenever I give any insert command in the SAP system, it will create a new entry in the table. Okay, in the database table, it will create a new entry. Then modify. See, modify is a dynamic statement. Okay, why is it dynamic? Because modify will act as both update and insert. It can do both. Okay, modify can do both update and insert. So first of all, it will try to check whether the data is existing or not. If it is existing, then it will try to change the data. If the data is not existing, it will create the data. Okay, that's it. So if I have to give you a real-time example, see, consider, let's say I want to um, see information about employee ABC. Okay, there is an employee with number ABC for whom I want to, let's say, change some data, change some value of a, okay, like I want to change the location of that employee, for example. Okay, ABC employee, I want to change the location. So in this case, if I want to change the location, I am pretty sure that ABC employee is there in my system. So now I want to change the information of that employee. So in this case, I can write an update statement. Okay, because I'm pretty sure ABC's employee is there in the system. I want to change the location. So I'll simply write update. It will update the location of the employee. But let's say I am not sure whether the employee is there in the system or not. So even if the employee is not there in the database, I still want to create the employee data and change the location at the same time. Okay. So in this case, I'll use a modify. Okay. So if I'm pretty sure the employee is available and I only want to change the data of the employee, go with update. If I am not sure whether the employee information is available in the system or not, but I want to create the employee if the employee is not there and also change the information of the employee at the same time, go with modify. Okay, go with modify. That is the difference between update and modify. Update is only changing. Modify is changing and updating. Oh, sorry, changing and creating both. Okay, update and insert. Update and insert. That is modify. Then finally delete. Delete is nothing but deleting the data from the database table. That's it. If I want to delete any record, delete any employee information from the table, simply I'll write delete. It will be deleted. That is delete. Okay. So any doubt in any of these commands? Okay. I'll take it as a no. Fine. Moving on. Okay. What is a table? What is a database? I've been using these terms way too many times in this class. Correct? Table, table, database, database, right? So table again is nothing but a database table. Table means database table. So see, whenever we want to save any data in the database, the data will be stored in a tabular format. Okay, the data will be stored in a tabular format. Tabular format is nothing but this. This is nothing but a tabular format. In this table, I'm having two columns and five rows. Okay, two columns and five rows. This is a table, correct? So same. This is how your data will be stored in the database also. Okay, in the tabular format. That is the reason it is called as a database table. Basically, table is nothing but it, or database table is nothing but it is used to store your data in the database in a tabular format. Okay, in a tabular format. That is why it is called as a database table. That's it. Then what is a database? Database is nothing but it's a storage unit. Okay, it's a storage unit which is used to store your information. Okay, your organization's information, your company's information. Okay, so it is similar to our pen drives, our hard drives, SSDs and all, but on a very larger scale. So we will measure our uh, storage units in gigabytes or GBs or TBs, right? Terabytes or gigabytes, whereas database will be a very large, okay, on a very larger scale. You'll have different like large number of data sets available on one single point. So it's just like a memory unit, like pen drive or a CD and all, DVD, but on a very larger scale. That's it. That's what is your database. Just database purpose is to store your information. That's what is a database. Okay. Now coming to ABAP workbench objects. But before I start this, any doubt again in what is a database, what is a table? Okay, I'll take that as you know. So now, so this is very important, guys. Introductory sessions. The reason is, if we don't understand these introduction sessions, when we actually get into the system, we will not see these things anymore. Okay. See, the minute we will start creating things in systems, we will not touch theoretical part at all. Okay. There will be nothing theoretical. Everything that we will do will be on the system. Everything will be practical. Okay. Zero theoretical. Everything will be practical. Every single day. Okay, I'll not even open my PPT every day. I'll not open my document. I'll not open any notepad. Okay, we will not waste time in understanding theoretical part once we start creating things in SAP. Okay, but before we start creating things in SAP, we should understand these basic concepts first. Okay, what am I creating? What is the purpose of creating it? Those things are more important for us. Correct? We should not blindly create things. Yes. So that is the reason these introductory concepts are more important. Okay, only the introductory part is theoretical. After this, nothing is theoretical. Everything is practical. Okay, starting from chapter 2, right? Starting from chapter 2, everything is practical. Everything we will create in SAP only. Okay, done. Then, first of all, what is a workbench? Okay, we have written here that ABAP workbench object. What is a workbench object? Okay, so workbench objects are those objects which are normally created by the ABAP team. Okay, so in SAP we have two types of objects: workbench objects and customizing objects. Okay, workbench object and customizing objects. So workbench objects are created by the ABAP team always. Okay, workbench objects are always created by the ABAP team. Customizing objects are configurations, basically not object, they are like configurations in your system. These things are done by your functional teams. Okay, workbench objects are created by ABAP team. Customizing objects are taken care by your functional team. Simple. Okay, workbench means ABAP, customizing means functional. We keep that in mind. Done. Then what is a landscape in SAP? Okay, what are all the different landscapes in SAP? Okay, so no matter wherever you are, whatever project that you get, in whatever location, within India, outside India, wherever it is, whatever the type of project it is, even if it's ECC system or HANA system or whatever the system it is, you will minimum have three systems, three landscapes you will have: development, quality, production. Minimum three. Every single project will have this. Every project, no matter whatever it is, implementation, support, whatever project, whatever the client, whoever it is, you will definitely have three systems, minimum three systems: development, quality, production. Okay, now what is development system? As the name suggests itself, we have to perform all the development activities. Okay, all the development activities in the development system. If you want to create anything, if you want to change anything, if you want to update anything, if you want to delete anything, all these are what? Development activities, correct? Creating something means I'm developing something. Changing something means I'm changing the existing development. Deleting something means I'm deleting the existing developments, correct? Every activity that is related to a development of an object should be performed in development system only. Okay, and we as an ABAP team will most of the time will work in only development systems. Okay, we as an ABAP team will mostly work in development systems only. Okay, most of the time. Okay, would say almost 90% of the time you will work in development system only. The other 10% you might work in quality and production, but 90% of the time we will work in development system only. Okay, so this is just a temporary ID that I gave, ID as DE1. Why I gave DE1 we will see in next slide. Okay, next slide why I gave this I'll tell you. Okay, that is basically development system. Then quality system. Quality system is normally used by your functional team and your business users. Okay, functional team and business users. The purpose of quality system is, see, we are developing something. Okay, see, what is the cycle? What is the complete cycle of how things work in SAP? First, you will get a requirement, or not you, your functional team will get the requirement from the user. Correct? So once the functional team gets the requirement from the user, they will explain ABAP team. Okay, they'll explain you what is the requirement. So after that explanation, you will start creating things. Okay, you will start your development work. Okay, once after finishing the development, there has to be testing that there has to be testing performed on the objects that you have developed. Okay, now who will do the testing? We don't have a separate testing team in SAP. Okay, unlike Selenium or manual testers, we will not have a separate testing team in SAP. Your functional team is nothing but your testing team. Okay, so all the development work that you did in development system in DE1, you have to transport it to quality system. Okay, once it is transported to quality system, now again how the transport works, what is transport, etc. We will talk about it later, but let's understand the landscapes for now. Okay, so once after you complete the development work, we have to transport the development that we did in from DE1 to quality system. QE1. You have to move it. Okay, from DE1 we have to move it to QE1. So your functional team will perform testing in the quality system. Okay, as per the requirement. So again, they'll go through the requirement document. What is the requirement from the user? They will test all the possible scenarios. If they feel like it is as per the requirement, it is as per the user's design, then they will send it to further testing to your user. Okay, so some user would have requested it, correct, that I need this. So your functional team will reach back to the user stating that the development is complete, I have done some initial testing, it is working fine, please perform more testing from your side. This is a mail that they will write to your client, okay, to that user. So once user also completes the testing in quality system, okay, once after user completes their testing in quality system, your changes will be transported to production system. Okay, now let's consider one more scenario. Let's say your testing team or your your functional team or your user tested it in the quality system. They found a bug. They found a bug in the program, or in somewhere they found a program bug. So in this case, they will again reach back to you stating that this scenario is not working. Okay. So there are some scenarios that they are testing, out of which one scenario did not work for them. So they will again reach back to you stating that, see, this scenario is not working. Then please see why is it not working and correct it. Okay. Again, what we'll have to do, we'll have to start the development again. Okay. Again, we'll have to do the change in the development system. Okay, we have to identify where is the place, why is it failing, at what place, what scenario is not working. We'll have to see that, and we have to modify our change, modify the code or whatever. Okay, see, ABAP is not just coding. Okay, other than coding also we have some things. Okay, ABAP is not just coding, not all about coding. Without coding also there are some objects, there are some workbench objects that are without coding. You don't need coding knowledge to create those workbench objects. Okay, so for those objects also, that's why I'm not using coding term much. I'm only using development term. The reason being, development could be either code or non-code, both the objects. Okay, ABAP is not just coding. Other than coding also we have things in ABAP. Okay, now, right, where were if it came back in the testing, so you as an ABAPer, you have to correct it. You have to correct that scenario, again move it to quality. Then your testing team will again test it, your user will again test it. Once it is successful, then only it will move to production. Okay, let's say second time you moved it to quality, second time also it failed. Okay, it's not working fine. Again it will come back, you'll again have to do the change. So until and unless your client is satisfied with the development that you did, you cannot transport the change to production. Okay, until and unless your client is satisfied with the development we did, we cannot transport the change to production. Without users confirmation, we should never transport our changes to production. Keep that in mind, very important. Okay, without users confirmation, we should never move any changes, be it new development or you're changing any existing development. Doesn't matter whatever it is. Even if you're adding a dot or removing a dot, okay, all you're doing is adding a dot or removing a dot from the development system, but still you should not even move such a change to production system without your business confirmation, without your users confirmation, never. Okay, very important. Okay, done. Now, what is a production system? Okay, why is it so important that we should be careful with the production system, we should not move any changes to production system? Is, see, whenever any business transaction happens in life, okay, so all those transactions will be saved in the production system. Okay, no matter if I'm selling a 1 rupee worth of product or a $1 million worth of product, Every single transaction will be available in your production system only. Every transaction, every business transaction, credit, debit, sales, purchasing, whatever it is, will be available in your production system only. So we have to be very careful when we log into production system. Normally, ABAPers will not get much accesses in production system because we will have some knowledge with which we can manipulate the data in the systems directly. Okay, we will have that amount of knowledge. No one else will have that knowledge. No other functional team or no other technical team will have that sort of knowledge, that sort of skill. So people are afraid to give such elevated accesses to a BAP team because people might misuse those in production system. Okay, because we will have that amount of knowledge. Okay, that is the reason we will not get much accesses in production system. But even if you get the accesses, make sure that you should never change any data in the production system. Any data. Okay, be it a dot or a comma. You should not even remove a dot, not even add a dot, not even remove a comma, not even add a comma, not even one single space also you should not give. Okay, it's very, very important that you should never change any data in production system. Never, no exception. Never do it. Okay, until and unless your business is requesting you directly, never do it. Again, it is a very, very, very rare scenario that your business will request you to change the data in production system because they themselves can change it. They will never reach an ABAPer asking that please change the data in production system for this particular thing. Never. Okay. So please be sure that we should never make any change with the production system. We have to be very, very careful with production systems. Okay. So this is how your landscapes work. This is how your movement will work. Okay, I'll repeat. First of all, development system. The purpose of development system is every object creation, change, modification, deletion should be done in development system alone. I cannot go into change mode in quality or production system. You are not even allowed to go to change mode in quality or production system. You can only do it in development system. Only in development system. Okay. Then once you complete the development in development system, you have to or someone will transport the changes to quality system. In the quality system, your functional team will perform the initial testing. First testing will be performed by your functional team. If the testing is successful, then your user will do the testing. The business user who requested the requirement, they will do the testing. If the user also is fine with the development, if they approve the development that you did, then only the changes will be moved to production system. Okay, and the production system is a live system in which all the business transactions are saved. We should never ever change any data directly in production system. Okay, to be honest, we will not even log into production system every day. We will not even log in because as an ABAPer, you will not have any work in production system. It is your functional team or your uh, business users who will work in production system. You as an ABAPer, that is the reason I told you 90% of the time you will only work in development system. The remaining, I would say 7 to 8% you will work in a quality system. 1-2% only you will do it in the production system. Okay, that is the reason. See, maybe once in a week you might log in into production system. That is also exaggerating. You might not even log in once in a week in production system. Okay, but development system you will log in every day. Every single day you have to log in production system because your work is in development system, not in quality or production system. Whereas your functional team, they will not log into development system because they have nothing to develop. Right? Your functional team will have nothing to develop. Their work will be mostly on quality or production systems. So that is the difference between your quality, I mean, functional team and ABAP team, development team versus testing team. Okay. So any doubt in landscapes of SAP. So it is extremely important for you to understand these landscapes. So don't feel shy to ask any question, no matter how whatever the question is, you can still ask. Just a sec. I have a message. Unit testing will be done in your quality system. So when I say functional testing, it is called FUT. FUT means functional unit testing. Then the testing that you get from a user is called UAT. UAT means acceptance testing. Okay, so unit testing will be performed in quality system, and UAT will also be performed in quality system. Most of the scenarios.
So now the developer, how he will know whether the object which he has created is working or not before moving to
Uh,
quality?
Your before moving to quality.
Hmm.
So you see, there are cases where your functional team can do some initial testing. Okay, so let's say you did some development in which there are let's say 10 scenarios. So out of 10 scenarios, they have to have some data replications in development system. If they are able to replicate the data in development system, they can perform the testing in development system also. But it is very rare because data replication in development system is not easy. So that is the reason what your functional team will do, or what you can do also is, since you are aware of the requirement, you will get the requirement document, you can perform some initial testing in development system. If you feel like okay, it is correct, it is working as per their design, as per their requirement design, then you can move it to quality. So you will do some testing, at least not complete, not scenario based testing, just a very minute testing just to check, are there any errors in between? Is it working fine? Am I seeing the output? Is the selection screen coming properly or not? These kind of basic checks you have to do.
Okay.
Yep. Anyone else? Okay. So now I said that minimum you will have at least three landscapes in every project. Now there could be some projects where there are more landscapes. Okay, so those landscapes can be sandbox system or regression system. Okay, what is a sandbox system? Again, it's very rare, not every project will have it. Okay, only few projects will have it, so we did not add this in the slide, but verbally I'm just explaining you that the other systems that you might get in some projects are sandbox systems and regression systems. So sandbox system means whenever we want to test something, okay, before I do any development directly in the development system, just for testing purposes or just for practice purposes, if I want to create anything, change anything, delete anything, in those situations I can use a sandbox system. Your sandbox system is not connected to any of the development quality or production systems. It is not connected, it is separate. Okay, sandbox system is always separate, it is never connected with the development quality production. Sandbox system purpose is only to practice things before we actually do it in the development system. You can practice things out in the sandbox system. That is called sandbox. Okay, SANDBOX, sandbox. Okay, then regression system means, see, I told you that development will be done in the development system, then testing will be done in quality system. Your user will also test in quality system. Once user accepts it, it will move to production system. But in some situations, they might create one more testing system. Okay, after quality system, here they might have one more system that is called as a regression system. So in the regression system, they will do more testing. Okay, so in this scenario, what will happen is your functional will do the testing in quality system, and your business user will do the testing in regression system, right? And the UAT sign off, user acceptance testing, right, will be given from regression system, not quality system. Again, situations are rare for these systems to be available in every project, so that is the reason we didn't add it here. but only few projects will have it. Sandbox and regression. Purpose of sandbox system is to practice things before we actually do things in development system. If we want to practice anything, that practice can be done in sandbox system. Similarly, any testing from user, if they want to test regressively, then those testings can be done in your regression system. Okay, rather than doing it in the quality system. Quality system testing will be done by your functional team. Regression testing will be done by your business users. Okay. Once the UAT is received from the business users, after they do the testing in our regression system, your changes will be migrated to production system. Simple. So again, so any doubt, any more doubt? Okay, so we'll stop at this point because I don't want to overburden you with knowledge of many concepts. You have seen many concepts right today. We have seen architecture of ECC, architecture of HANA. What are all the different layers of this architecture? What is the purpose of each and every layer? What is presentation layer, application layer, database layer? Then the differences between ECC versus HANA. What is ECC? What is HANA? ECC is nothing but your older version of SAP. S4 or HANA is nothing but your upgraded version of SAP. Then what is a client? What is a server? Again, for your practice purpose, you will get a HANA system only. You will get a HANA server only. You will not get ECC system servers because they are not new. So we want you people to practice in upgraded systems only. That is the reason the server we provide is also HANA system server. In HANA system, you can use both ECC concepts and HANA concepts. But if you only give you ECC server, you cannot perform HANA concepts in ECC server. That is the reason we give you HANA server. You can perform both in HANA server. Okay. Then what is a server? What is a client? Then some keywords or some statements of a app that you can use to manipulate your data. Then what is a database table? What exactly is a database? Then what is an ABAP workbench object? What is a workbench object? What is a customizing object? Who will take care of workbench object? Who will take care of customizing object? Then what are all the different landscapes in SAP? So at most we will have three landscapes, but some projects, some exceptional projects might have a couple of more systems like sandbox or regression system. Depends upon every project. That's again different everywhere. But no matter which project it is, which client it is, implementation support, whatever the project it is, you will have minimum three systems. That is development, quality, production. Okay, every project will have these three systems. Okay, then category of objects we will start tomorrow because again I don't want to overburden you. So before we wind up this call, any doubt from yesterday's class or today's class, or apart from whatever you have discussed also, if you're having any doubt in SAP or any doubt with the ABAP, you can feel free to ask. If you cannot unmute yourself for whatever the reasons, you can also put your query in the chat. I can monitor the chat and I'll answer that. Okay, I'll wait for a minute for you to put. If you're having any doubt, you can put it in the chat. We'll wait for a minute, then we can stop today's class. Okay, then I would consider it as no one is having any doubt. So let's meet in the next class. We will quickly revise today's discussed topics in next class. In the beginning, at the beginning of the class, every single day in the beginning of the class, we will discuss or we will revise the previous day's topics. Then we will move on to the next topics. So tomorrow also we will revise these topics that we have just seen. Then we will move on to new topics. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Let's meet tomorrow. Bye. What is any doubt? Okay, I dropped. Fine. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye.